All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video. Which receiver is the best receiver to go for in every single round of the NFL draft? We'll touch on that coming up next for the 49ers. But first, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Go say hi to Damon and Mary. Get yourself some brisket and tell them that Krug sent you. And of course, we're also brought to you by Marin Auto Glass. Check them out as well online at marinautoglass.com. All right, let's talk a little bit about the receivers. Now, I don't know if Brandon Ayuk's going to get traded or not. I hope he doesn't. To me, it doesn't make any sense to really consider moving off of your best receiver inside your Super Bowl window. But the Niners do have severe cap problems, and we'll see what their solutions are. But as if they can somehow figure out a way to keep Ayuk, that's the best route to go. But I do expect them to draft a receiver in this draft in some round. Now, let's go through in each round what receiver I think is the best option in each round. And it's a little bit of guesswork, right? Because we don't know exactly how the teams have them gauged. Some teams will have a receiver in the second round, and that same receiver could be a fourth round pick on another team's board. So there's always a little fluidity, if you want to call it that, to the board. But I'm going to say we're going to go through first round, second round, third round, fourth round, fifth round, sixth round, seventh round, and undrafted. And we'll give you one guy, maybe two, that I think are the best fits for them. All right. In the first round, of course, Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze, those guys for sure are not going to be there. They're going to go in the top 10, top 15, so we won't even consider them. The one guy who I think would be their best pick in the first round as a receiver is Brian Thomas Jr. out of LSU. Really, really like this kid. He scored a bunch of touchdowns. He's incredibly productive. He's got long arms. He's got 4.3 speed. I mean, he's a big-time player. He really is. I mean, I think Brian Thomas is a spectacular talent, 6'4", 205. He's from Walker, Louisiana, went to Walker High School, and is just a badass. I mean, he's a big play threat. He's absolutely a big play threat. Him and Neighbors were the most productive tandem in all of college football. The duo combined for 157 receptions, 2,700 plus yards, and over 30 touchdowns. So, I mean, it's this guy in 3 years for LSU, he had played in 38 games. He started 27 times. He had 127 career receptions and 24 touchdowns. And the 24 touchdowns tied Justin Jefferson for third in the history of the program. So anytime you're tying Justin Jefferson, you're in there with the best. So if the Niners had a first round pick, if there was a receiver in the first round that I would look for, it's Brian Thomas. No question about it. And I think Brian Thomas potentially is the rare receiver that may step in and actually play well right away because he's pretty refined for a receiver. So in round one, I would say the best receiver is that they could get would be Brian Thomas Jr. Now, in round two, there's a whole group of guys, and they could go at the end of round one. They could fall into round three, but in and around round two, you've got Troy Franklin, Ladd McConkey, Adonai Mitchell from Texas, Xavier Worthy, the burner from Texas, Keon Coleman, who has just a huge catch radius for Florida State, Xavier Legette from South Carolina, Roman Wilson, Ricky Pearsall. All those guys, I think, are going in round two or in and around round two, maybe the late round one, early round three. To me, the best round two receiver option is Xavier Legette. 6'3", 227 pounds. He's from Mullins, South Carolina, went to Mullins High School. Just a tremendous player. He was a Biletnikoff Award semifinalist. He was SEC academic honor roll. He's a lot like A.J. Brown, I think. I mean, you can improve his route running. You can improve his refinement. But you're still talking about a 230-pound guy who runs away from people. And when you watched him, you could really see him running away. I mean, he would catch it in a crowd and then accelerate away from people. So he doesn't just run for the stopwatch. He's field fast as well. Great all around athlete who played basketball, baseball basketball and baseball in high school. Was considered a top 10 prospect in the state of South Carolina. To me, if you have a second round pick and you're looking for a wide receiver, this is your guy. The physicality is off the charts, the strength at the catch point, the power to run through arm tackles. I think Xavier Legette is a really, really special player. So I would say if you have a second round pick and you're using it on a wide receiver, I like a lot of those guys. Mitchell from Texas has got a lot to like. Worthy's a home run hitter. Lad McConkey has got great ball skills. Pearsall's got a unbelievable skill set. I like all these guys, but I would say if I have a second round pick and I'm the Niners and I'm looking for a wide receiver, I'm going Xavier Legette from South Carolina. All right, if it gets into the third round, what receiver do you like? Well, once again, it's a little bit difficult to know exactly what round all these guys are going to go in, but I would say Malachi Corley is probably the third round guy that I would go for. I think this group's going to include Devontae Walker, Jalen Polk, Jermaine Burton, who I really like, Jalen McMillan, Brendan Rice, Javon Baker, Jamari Thrash. I think all these guys are in that third round, maybe early fourth round range. And I like Malachi Corley. There's a lot to like here. I mean, very, very strong runner, and he really runs through arm tackles. And this is a really talented player. He's 5'11". He's a Florida kid. He's born in Orange City, Florida. Went to high school in Kentucky, Campbellsville High School in Kentucky. And, I love what this guy did this year. I mean, he was fantastic throughout his Western Kentucky career. Played in 49 games, 32 starts over 4 seasons for the Hilltoppers, had over 3,000 yards, 29 touchdowns, averaged about 62 yards per game. Over those 48 games, he broke the program career receptions record in the regular season finale in 2023. Just a physical, hard running, great run after the catch, jack of all trades, Debo Samuel like. He's been compared to Debo. He's not Debo. He's a step below Debo in my mind, but third round pick. To me, he's the best. If you're looking for a wide receiver in the third round, I think Malachi Corley is your guy. All right, now let's go to the fourth round. And this is one where I'm not confident this player is even going to make it to the fourth round, but I've got him here because he's of his size. Malik Washington from Virginia, maybe one of my favorite players in the entire draft. 5'8", 194 pounds. He was a grad transfer. He started at Northwestern, finished at Virginia. He's a kid from Georgia. He's from Lawrenceville, Georgia, went to Parkview High School, then went to Northwestern, then transferred from Northwestern to Virginia. And he was one of 10 semifinalists for the Blitnikoff Award. I mean, nobody was more productive than this guy. He was first team academic All-American, smart kid, 3-time ACC wide receiver of the week this year. East-West Shrine Game Performer of the Week. He's really, really good football player. Love this player. Now, is he a slot player? He is small. I mean, when I say small, we're talking about, 5'8". He's not a big guy. He's a small player, but he's a hell of a player. He really is. And I think this is a plug and play player. This is a guy who's going to step in and perform right away. He did it at Northwestern. He did it at Virginia. He's very polished. He'll pluck the ball with his hands. He'll catch it in a crowd. He'll take a big hit. He'll hold on. He's 5'8", 194, but he's not slight. He's pretty muscle bound. And to me, if you've got a fourth round pick, now I'm not sure. He could go late third. Heck, he could go middle of the third because of his production at Virginia. But I think that his size and the fact that he didn't have the unbelievable speed will push him into the fourth round. And if he's there in the fourth round, Malik Washington would be my pick in the fourth round. Now, I think he's the best receiver in the fourth round. Jacob Cowing from Arizona is another smallish slot receiver, 5'10", 175 pounds. He may also be there in the fourth round, but those are the two guys I'd be looking at in the fourth round. All right, round five. Round five, I think, is Luke McCaffrey, Christian's brother, former quarterback, all conference player at Rice, ran sub 4.5. There's a lot of work to be done as a receiver. He's a very raw receiver, but the traits are there: the hands, the footwork, the desire, the speed. I mean, he's a terrific athlete, and he's just developing as a receiver. Now he needs some refinement. There's no question about it. He needs some time because he hasn't played receiver for very long. But Luke McCaffrey, to me, is the best receiver in the fifth round if you're the 49ers. In the sixth round, who do you like? Well, now it's starting to now we're starting to separate, and it's starting to, the pickings are getting a little slim, right? But the guy that I love in the sixth round is definitely Aeneas Smith from Texas A&M. Another guy who's tough despite the fact that he's relatively small. He's 5'9", 200 pounds. He's a grad student. He's from Missouri City, Texas, and he was a star at A&M. I mean, he really was. He was a tremendous player. He's a guy who he owns a 36-game consecutive game streak with a reception, eighth longest active in the nation. SEC Special Teams Player of the Week in October when he had 131 punt return yards. This guy with the new return rules is going to be a factor. He'll block this guy absolutely loves to block. He can be used as a running back. He can be used as a wide receiver, as a return man. He's kind of a jack of all trades. He's awesome with the ball in his hands. He's got great stop and start ability. You have a hard time running this guy down. I mean, this is a very, very difficult player to tackle in the open field. As I said, he was a star at A&M, big playmaker. Really love Aeneas. Aeneas Smith is an absolute player. He wore number 0. It's like you can't tackle this guy. He'll stop and start and cut back, and he runs with power, and he's got great vision, and he'll run through arm tackles despite not being the biggest guy. So I'll say if you're looking for a wide receiver in round 6, Aeneas Smith, Texas A&M. That's my guy. In round 7, I'm going to go with Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint. And a lot of people, don't know a lot about Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint, but he played at Georgia on a team full of big time players. He's got really long arms. He's 6'2", 195 with long arms, but he's kind of like an Ayuk in that his long arms make him play more like 6'4". He's got a big catch radius. He's a terrific athlete. He can make plays over the middle of the field. Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint will catch it in a crowd. He'll hold on. He'll take a big hit. Really, really like him. And there's just he's a tremendous athlete with at 6'2", 195. He's from Pompano Beach, Florida. Went to St. Thomas Aquinas, big powerhouse high school program, and he's just a really underrated player, and the mileage is low. I mean, because they had so many different weapons at Georgia, it wasn't like this guy was overly utilized, and he's not beat up. He played in 13 of 14 games this year. He started 11 games. He had only 34 receptions for 535 yards. That was third on the team. His 4 touchdowns tied him for second among all Bulldogs in 2023. He's a good football player. Big catch radius. Will catch it off the surface. Will high point the ball. It's quicker than you think. I like the route refinement, believe it or not. For Rosemy-Jacksaint, he made a number of big catches for the Dogs. He can free himself up against tight coverage. I like him. He'll high point the ball. He runs with total courageousness across the middle. He's not afraid of taking the big hit. Tough kid, wiry, strong. To me, in round 7, Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint is the best receiver on the board. And now let's get to the undrafted. And I would say there are 2 receivers that I would be looking for in the undrafted market. One is Tyler Harrell from the University of Miami. He played at Louisville. He ran 4.24 in his workout. He is a true home run hitter. And when you watch, there's a lot of fast receivers in this draft. I don't think any of them are as field fast as Tyler Harrell. Tyler Harrell is gone. I mean, he is absolutely going to take the top off the defense. He's your monster home run hitter. I love Tyler Harrell as an undrafted free agent or even a day 3 pick, but in late round 6 or 7. But Tyler Harrell, I have a feeling may not get drafted, and I think that's a great undrafted free agent. The other guy that you got to take a look at is David White from Western Carolina. And if you watched the All-Star games, this kid's 6'4", 200 pounds. His route running is off the charts. Now he's raw, right? He's a Jacksonville, Florida kid. He went to Westside High School. He's 6'4", 200. He's a great route runner, very precise in his movements, but he still needs a lot of refinement. He started off at Valdosta State and transferred to Western Carolina. And, if you watch him, he's got unbelievable foot quickness, and he'll lose guys with his footwork, but he's a little slow in and out of the break. He's he's not a ready to play receiver just yet. But man, if you have a good wide receiver coach and you can give this kid the reps, a year from now, you're going to be looking up going, we got something. We really got something, because he's special. You don't see the kind of route running usually for a player coming out of Western Carolina like this kid has. He's very precise in his movements. He's huge target, well above average speed, big, fast with great feet. And he just needs reps. He just needs reps and coaching. You give David White Jr. reps and coaching, and you're going to be thrilled that you did. I would not be shocked if this guy becomes a real serious player in the NFL at some point in the next couple of years. It's going to take a little time. That's why he's an undrafted player. The quality of competition he's gone up against is not nearly the same. He's going to have a hard time against NFL corners right away. But man, the tools are there. And David White Jr. is a really, really nice prospect. All right, that does it for the which receivers are the best by round. Once again, round 1, Brian Thomas Jr. from LSU. Round 2, Xavier Legette. Round 3, Malachi Corley from Western Kentucky. Round 4, if he's there, because he could go in the end of round 3, is Malik Washington from Virginia. Round 5 is Luke McCaffrey from Rice. Round 6 is Aeneas Smith from Texas A&M. Round 7, Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint from Georgia. And undrafted, either Tyler Harrell from Miami or David White of Western Carolina. And thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. And now a word from our sponsor, Aura. Have you ever typed your name on the internet and seen all of your private information is online? Are you tired of receiving tons of spam calls from random numbers? Are you receiving more and more of these as time has gone on? Well, that's where Aura, the sponsor of today's show, can really help you out. Data brokers sell your information to scammers and spammers and anyone else who may want to target you. Your full name, your email, your home address, all your records, your health records, who your relatives are. It's all out there. That's why I've been using Aura. Aura shows me which data brokers are selling my information and automatically submits opt-out requests for me. Cleaning up my information not only helps reduce the amount of spam I get, but it also protects me from hackers who could use the information to help them access my social media accounts, my bank accounts, or any other sensitive information. Aura also does so much more to protect me and my family from online threats I can't see. I get other features like antivirus, VPN, password management, parental controls, identity theft insurance, and more without having to download several different apps. It's really easy to set up. And best of all, I get everything at one affordable price. I value my privacy and I value yours. You can go to the link in the description to start your 2-week free trial. Thanks to Aura for sponsoring this video. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krug Show. on YouTube.